Welcome back. Michael Tomasky. As we just mentioned, the new edition of the New Republic celebrates America's 250th birthday. It features a slew of in-depth articles about the state of democracy today, while also taking a look back at some of the most influential Americans over the past 2.5 centuries. It includes several lists, rankings, like top presidents, worst presidents, and the most important American women. We, of course, can't get into all of that today. That's why you should pick up an issue and read for yourself. But let's do a little now.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, best presidents.
Yeah.
Give us a quick set. These are historians. This isn't just you and your staff.
Right.
Give us. We're seeing the list here. A Lincoln FDR tie at the top. George Washington a strong third.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about 100 historians and others. We asked some other scholars and public intellectual types. They gave us answers over the course of the spring. Best presidents, worst presidents, greatest moments in American history, worst moments in American history, images that define American history for better and for worse, the greatest works of art in American history, the most influential politicians who weren't president, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Culminating in, we asked them to name their liberal Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
Like, I'm sure you've had many Barstool conversations about the Red Sox Mount Rushmore.
Always.
Jonathan.
I can do it real quick. Let's save that for later.
Yeah, no.
So we decided to apply that principle that sports fans use to the history of American liberalism and who's your liberal Mount Rushmore. It's a lot of fun.
So talk to us about the most important women, that list you mentioned.
Yeah, well, Eleanor Roosevelt, Harriet Tubman. I can't remember all the.
Here we go.
There they
We're
are.
showing it on here. We have Eleanor Roosevelt, Harriet Tubman, Susan B. Anthony. The list goes on from there. Lauren, what do you think?
Yeah, no, this is pretty good. I'd like to commend you, A, for asking the question, and B, for putting it in the magazine, because I think it is one of the pieces of American history that does continue to get overlooked. I mean, we have very few statues to women in history in Washington or in other key places. So thanks for doing that. But just, I guess, I feel like the worst and best presidents are like the historians' Oscars. They love these lists. What's your sense about the kind of how we process these as Americans and how Americans are thinking about this anniversary, even as it's been, very polarized and politicized, maybe not as celebratory as some would like? What's your hope for Americans to take away?
Well, we have two Americas. We have the America that people like us live in, and then there's MAGA America. And Donald Trump was the worst president on our list. And I would. Why
don't we show that now? Yeah.
And I would imagine in MAGA America, he's very much not the worst. They probably put him at the top. I will say that our list, though our panel of historians obviously leaned liberal, they were objective in some ways. People might have noticed Phyllis Schlafly was on that most influential women list. John C. Calhoun and Barry Goldwater were on the list of most influential politicians who never became president. And then we had a little section where we did just ask some conservatives for their point of view. And that was really interesting, too. We asked people like Judge Ludwig and other influential conservative thinkers. So we gave the conservatives their say as well.
And I guess, returning to Lauren's point, that we saw the list there. Donald Trump obviously fares pretty poorly in these lists. And I think that's what a lot of people are having a hard time right now as we barrel into the 250th anniversary, is that what should be a unifying moment doesn't feel that way. And I think the president, I mean, there are lots of factors for that, but the president probably takes the most blame. In fact, the fact that tonight was supposed to be a America Unity concert, instead, it's just, in his own words, a mega Trump rally.
Yeah. And, what he's doing to Washington, to the footprint of our nation's capital, and tearing down the East Wing and trying to build that arch in that little traffic circle. It's a small traffic circle where he's trying to put this 250-foot high arch. And, of course, what's going on now at the reflecting pool. You could say he's trying to beautify Washington, but these are vanity projects. He's trying to leave the stamp of Trump on the nation's capital.
The arch in particular in that sacred place, I find just despicable. Lauren, final thought to you. It is the 4-year anniversary since the end of Roe v. Wade.
Well, it's notable that abortion really wasn't on the ballot in many ways during the election yesterday. It sort of faded in many senses from the public campaigning. There are a whole number of initiatives that are, ballot initiatives across the country. It remains a deep battleground for women and families across America. As much as America is divided into red and blue, America is also now divided into abortion, access, and not. And, Virginia being the only state in the South where abortion is legal, this remains a day-to-day life and death issue for American women. It has faded maybe from the headlines, but it has not faded from the lives of everyday Americans. Just last week, the All In Together Substack today has a breakdown of all the details of where there are upcoming referendums and what's happening in all the states. We do need to keep watching it. This remains a critical issue for America.
All right, co-founder and CEO of All In Together, Lauren Leader, and editor at The New Republic, Michael Tomasky, our thanks to you both.